Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right. Welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. Oh my God. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose? It's totally free of charge. But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, description box below, very top link takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. And then finally, just another link. Somewhere down in the description box takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,900 members in the group. We are so close to 10,000 members. It's so close. But yet so far away. And might I add, it is doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group down there 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. Well, we got the joint practices run out of the way. Well, not out of the way, they conquered, right? At the preseason game coming up Saturday. And then, the following Thursday is the final preseason. It's like, whew. I think it was John Schmelk was talking about it. He was kind of like, showing how short the preseason game time is compared, and then it's like there's almost 17 days. It's like 2.5 weeks before the first football game. You figure it was last Saturday was the first one. This Saturday will be the second one. So that's 8 days. Saturday to Saturday, 8. And then you got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You got 5. So 8 days. You got 13. The preseason games are only like 13 days from the beginning to the end. And then you got 17, almost 2.5 weeks off before the beginning of the regular season. The one nice thing about that is that, obviously any little maybe nicks or bumps and bruises or whatever, hopefully can heal up a little bit before the beginning of the season. Going to be interesting to see, as far as with some of these guys on the injured, being held out, shall we say, right? Andrew Thomas, who's on the pup, right? But he can, anytime he can pass a physical, they can put him out there, right? That's all he needs to do. But with Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatterbo, I'm sorry, buddy, didn't see you there. The interesting thing is that, with some of them, are they injured? And it's, or some of them, is it they're just, just bubble wrapping the dude. It's like, maybe like Malik, we know what you can do. We don't need to see you in preseason. We don't need to see you. We know we need you for week 1. Going to be interesting to see with him because it's a guarantee. Just like with Darren Waller, like with his hamstrings and stuff like that. It's going to be interesting to see how long he makes it this season before anything starts. I hope he's good to go, right? But apparently he has problems with his hamstrings. And, where's it going to rear its ugly head for the Miami Dolphins this season? Not to wait and see. But with Malik and his toe, it's been all the way back since college. It's a guarantee. It's going to, cause him some discomfort, shall we say, this season. Now, he dealt with it all last season. He dealt with it in college. He's going to deal with it again this season, right? Interesting to see after the season's over, does he get some type of surgery? Because obviously rest is not the answer. right? So will he get some type of surgery done on it? We'll have to wait and see. But you also kind of want, it's like, with some of them, right? Like with like Malik and Cam. If the season started tomorrow, would they be ready to go? Right? But you don't know anything at all. Dave will just he ain't gonna tell you nothing. The thing is, like in the preseason, they don't have to be, they just he's nursing something, right? Regular season rolls around, they ask, well, his hamstring, that has to be more specific. Now, obviously, he's still like Dable always tries to get away from maybe being really, really specifically like what's wrong with it. He just calls it a hamstring, or it's a foot, or it's what what I mean. But right now, he doesn't have to be really specific at all as far as what type of injury it is. So, right, I did see this, and it's hopefully it won't take too long. Right, hopefully. Mr. Carter, right? Will get himself a nice fresh haircut. But he's on a haircut strike. I said it won't be like this for too long. I'm loving that attitude. Now, apparently he's not going to get a haircut until he gets himself a sack. So hopefully, once again, it won't take too long. As I said, let's just not forget, right? Once again, I don't want to be, jinxing us or anything like that, but let's not forget, right? The team that went to that championship game last year, okay, very surprising team, those Washington Commanders. We were a kicker away, pretty much, from beating them last year in Washington. So, right, it would be nothing finer than going in Spanish. If we could start off 2-0, I mean, we held our own very well against Washington both games last season. Somewhere along the line, we have to knock off Dallas. Right. All right. But anyway, the linebacker Abdul Carter is already flashing signs that he can be a special player at the NFL level. Carter, the third overall selection in the 2025 NFL Draft out of Penn State, has shown that he can get to the quarterback in multiple ways this summer. On Wednesday, after the Giants joint practice with the Jets, Carter was asked if he takes pride in being a disruptor and making things unsettling for quarterbacks. That's what they brought me here to do, so I take a lot of pride in it, and that's what I do best, he said. Carter is not cutting his hair until he gets his first NFL sack. He took questions with his hood on. He was asked if his hair was the longest it's been in a while. And Carter says, "Excuse me if you see me and I'm looking a little rough. Not getting a haircut till I get a sack." Let's see. And he was asked if his hair's been this long in a while. He said, "Yeah, for sure. But it won't be like this for long," he quipped. Carter appears to get better with each passing day. He came into camp with a top skill set and was ready to take the next steps to become a great NFL player. "I'm learning a lot," he said. "Every day, every practice, they're out here teaching me new things, trying to help me out. I'm just learning everything." Asked what the biggest difference is from the beginning of camp, Carter didn't tell us anything we already didn't know. "Just getting more comfortable. I know my teammates more and just building that chemistry. I feel like that's the most important thing," he said. Carter is getting more comfortable, which is not good news for the Giants' opponents this year. Yeah, I mean, they got some videos here of him going up against the Jets. He looked good. He really, really looked good. So I mean, one of the nice things about, being a really crappy team, right, is that hopefully you get that reward in April, right? Now, of course, it didn't pan out too well in 2019. It did, but it didn't. We got Dexter Lawrence out of it, okay? Quite possibly, you can say, as of right now, the best player on the Giants team. Right? I mean, Malik is making a push for that. Maybe Mr. Carter might make a push for the number one player on the team. But so right now, Sexy Dexy's the best player on this team. And we got that in the 17th pick in the 2019 draft. Now, of course, we got the 6th overall pick, and that didn't really turn out too well. Then, of course, we also traded up for the 32nd pick, and DeAndre Baker. And, of course, that turned out, that garbage, absolute straight up trash. So, we had, the second pick in the 2018 draft. It turned out pretty well. So, you got to also, it's not just the fact that you're getting a good draft pick, you got to hit it out of the park with it. And, it really, really looks like that with Malik Neighbors and Abdul Carter, we hit it out of the park. So it looked like two phenomenal football players. And they're just babies. Hopefully we'll have these guys for a long, long time. Right? So that's something to look forward to. Now, I know Kayvon, okay, he was, so that was, I guess his hair was looking a little long. I guess his hair is, it used to be maybe a little bit shorter than that. But Kayvon was also talking. Somebody asked him, what do they think about, Justin Fields, right? Give you maybe good assessment on Justin Fields. And Kayvon said he was having a hard time really being very descriptive about, how Justin Fields was looking and all that, because he said it's hard to get a good accurate description on it, because he said he was he was like running from the pressure most of the time. That didn't sit too well with a lot of the Jet fans. They were kind of some of the Jet fans saw that, and they were kind of barking back at Kayvon. But let's see what we had here. There we go. Giants star Kayvon gives a brutal assessment of Justin Fields and has the Jets fans got their attention. Let me tell you what. Giants star brutal assessment of Justin Fields has fans' attention. Originally appeared on the Spun. Right. Perhaps no rivalry between cross-conference teams is bigger than the Giants and the Jets rivalry. While they may only play in the regular season once every 4 years, their preseason game is an annual tradition, and one Giants player decided to crank up the heat with a pretty brutal assessment of the Giants' new signal caller. Giants and Jets have been doing joint practices this week, and after this morning's practice, Giants pass rusher Kayvon was asked to give his evaluation of Justin Fields. Thibodeau then remarked that he couldn't give one of Fields because Fields had to spend so much time running and scrambling away from the Giants' pass rushers. Giants edge rusher Kayvon was asked for his evaluation of Justin Fields. He says, honestly, you can't give one because it had spent so much time running away. So Pat Leonard wrote on Twitter, right? They've been talking about how much time. So, of course, this raised the pissed off some Jet fans. So, of course, some of the Jet fans were barking back at him. Jets fans are known for being extremely defensive of their players, so they quickly clapped back at Kayvon on social media. Dude was getting stonewalled most of the practice, LOL. If Abdul Carter said this, I'd be like, all right, he's got us there. Thib is good, don't get me wrong, but he's been mid to good, not good to great. Calm down, buddy, one fan remarked. Well, I saw a couple videos of Kayvon getting the better for offensive linemen. So it wasn't all fun and glory for the Jets. Actually, it wasn't much of an offensive showing. Yeah, we're going to go a little bit more into this in a bit here on the joint practices. But, I mean, neither team really did a phenomenal job offensive-wise. Right? But let's also not forget with the I'm not exactly sure if there was any big stars for the Jets who weren't there, especially on offense, but our best wide receiver, our top two best players weren't playing. Our left tackle and Malik Neighbors, our best wide receiver, was not out there. Their best wide receiver, Wilson, was out there. our best wide receiver was not out there. Our best two players on offense were not there. So got to keep that in mind too. Let's see here. For a bust that won us that game in 2023 single-handedly, he does talk a lot. And let's not forget the first day when he started 15 for 15 passing, a third said. Let's see. There is a guy who should not be running his mouth. It's Kayvon. These are Jet fans, Jet loser fans here. He is a top 5 pick, and he's literally the definition of mid. Maybe Carter will draw extra attention, and he can actually achieve his draft status. Probably not. This dude talks like he's Reggie White, but plays like Quentin Copples. I don't know, whoever that is. For a pair of teams that would be lucky to avoid double-digit losses in 2025, their players and fan bases both seem to live rent-free in each other's heads. So, but good old Kayvon. I gotta love it. I said, just what I'm hearing. I mean, I didn't see it at all or anything, but the Giants defense was. I mean, the Jets defense was doing pretty good as well too. Let's not forget the Jets have a very good defense. All right, but then again, so do the Giants. All right, now we got Paulson Adebo is ready to travel. Now, it's not maybe what kind of traveling you're thinking about. It's kind of more or less kind of like the traveling where he might be, where he usually is just on the one side of the field. Well, that may not necessarily be the case. He might start traveling, right? Because apparently he did a pretty good job of covering Wilson, right? Now, apparently there's also, whatever side Wilson went on, Adebo was on that side. So, it might be, pretty much, if we're playing, anybody, he might be going and taking the number one wide receiver of the other team, no matter what side of the field they're on, right? Because, one thing to have Adebo, okay, on the one side, but all you got, if you can take your best wide receiver and just put him on the other side, or maybe not quite as strong, well, that would give the advantage to the other team, but not necessarily. Mr. Adebo might be in a traveling mood this season, so we'll have to wait and see. Cornerback Paulson Adebo is ready to travel for the New York Giants. Giants could be planning to have Paulson Adebo break from having to play just on the left side, where he's seen most of his career snaps. In the past, Giants cornerback Paulson Adebo has primarily been a stay-at-home kind of guy. But those days might be coming to an end as the fifth-year NFL veteran is ready to travel. No, we're not talking about any type of excursion for Adebo, like Mr. McKinley did, right? Remember, he went on an excursion and he wound up breaking his hand. One of the Giants' biggest free agent signings in the offseason. We're talking about Adebo, who, according to True Media, via Locked On, the Giants podcast, has over his 4 years in the league played 94.5% of his snaps on the left outside, being a left outside cornerback. Getting ready to potentially shadow the opponent's top receiver this year, regardless of the side. So, his production while playing on the left side includes 38 pass breakups and 9 interceptions, whereas on the right side, he has logged just 2 pass breakups and 0 interceptions. Yeah, well, you figure that 19 out of every 20, right? Is it played? Okay, just snaps. So out of every 20 snaps he's on the field, 19 out of every 20 are on the left side. I mean, of course, he's going to have far greater stats on the left side than he's on the right. But let's see. Debo said that his primary role as left cornerback with the Saints wasn't a preference, but rather a necessity due to Marshawn Lattimore, the Saints' top cornerback, being firmly entrenched on the right side. So you figure they had a Debo and Lattimore. I mean, that's a nice dynamic duo there, let me tell you what. But just because Lattimore's presence limited Adebo to one side or most of his NFL career thus far, that doesn't mean that the 26-year-old is starting from scratch if he has to play on the other, less familiar side. I feel like I can play on both sides, Adebo said on Thursday. Debo has been getting the opportunity to show the Giants coaches he can be just as comfortable on either side this summer. On day 2 of the 2-day joint practice sessions with the Jets, Debo got to shadow Garrett Wilson, the Jets' top receiver on both sides. Debo ended up having a productive day that included at least 3 pass breakups and on balls intended for Wilson during the team period. Wilson's a good player. He's done a nice job since he's been here. How he deploys guys, what we decide to do, I think he's comfortable with whatever we ask him to do, head coach Brian Daboll said. I think he's got a good skill set to play the corner position. And then, again, every week we'll decide what we want to do and how we want to do it. But he's been a great teammate. He does everything we've asked. He's improved. He's learned our system. I'm happy we have him. Debo said that he last shadowed the opponent's top receiver when he was at Stanford, adding that it was more of a matchup situational thing than a automatic sign to chase after the top receiving threat. If he's asked to move from side to side with the Giants, Debo is ready. No matter who you're guarding, the job doesn't change, he said. There are guys who are very skilled and maybe they can do certain things better than other receivers, but your approach to the game as far as knowing that this is going to be your assignment, this is what you have to do. Now, the obviously, yeah, the secondary is, can certainly be a strong point without question for the New York Giants this season, right? If Nubin can stay healthy, if Phillips can stay healthy, with the addition of Javon Holland, with the addition of Paulson Adebo, right? Can we get that cornerback number 2 situated? Right? Who's going to win that starting job? I'll have to wait and see. But it says what you call a secondary made up of 2 high-priced free agents and 4 premium draft picks. On some teams, you might say that it's the backbone of the defense. On the Giants, you can call them overlooked. With all the hype about the possibilities for a pass rush, it's easy to forget that the Giants invested $99 million to sign safety Javon Holland and cornerback Paulson Adebo as the finishing pieces to join safety Tyler Nubin, their 2024 second-round pick, and cornerback Deonte Banks, the 2023 first-round pick, Drew Phillips, the 2024 third-round pick, and Cordell Flott, the 2022 third-round pick. So, we got a lot invested, a lot of high draft picks, and a lot of capital invested in that secondary. We're cool, man. We know what we got, so we don't need too many people talking about us. The basic assignment is to cover receivers long enough to allow Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Dexter Lawrence to harass quarterbacks. That requires around-the-horn communication, though it might not be on display Saturday if starters sit out against maybe the Jets. It just takes time around people, Phillips said. But a lot of times now we're just flowing and we know what to call. The more complex ask is disrupting games. I don't know what the hell that means. Holland and Adebo have 15 combined interceptions over their matching 4-year careers after the Giants set the NFL record by going 11 straight games without a pick last season. 11 straight games. The amount of turnovers the Giants had last year was just horrible. Absolutely horrible. Starting defense has intercepted quarterback Russell Wilson 6 times during training camp. All right, that's cool. I think we need more. I think we need more, defensive coordinator Shane Bowen said. But you see the emphasis on being able to punch the ball out, especially for fumbles. Whether we pick them or not, we've gotten our hands on a lot of passes. Big area where we need to improve on this upcoming season. The best view of the new look secondary might belong to the receivers who have faced it in 13 training camp practices. It starts with Holland and Nubin, Darius Slayton said. Noobs is a pit bull. He's physical, but he's also rangy. Holland has added a good dimension of range to our defense. He's also a willing tackler, but it stood out his ability to cover sideline to sideline and also track and catch the deep ball. It's something that he's flashed a lot. Giants up-and-coming corner reveals what's driving the most slept-on group in New York. Giants secondary is ready to emerge from the shadows and become one of the NFL's most feared units. All right, wait, I'm all for that. Obviously, a lot of things go hand in hand, right? A lot of things go hand in hand. A good pass rush, right, is going to help the secondary. Good secondary coverage is going to help the pass rush, right? Like if you can obviously cover, it's tough to cover these receivers forever, right? But if you can give them a 3-4 seconds of coverage, right, that's going to give time for our pass rush to get home. Also, once again, a good pass rush is going to make some quicker throws, some errant throws, some bad decisions by the quarterback, right? And hopefully our guys will be there ready to pick some of these passes off. Because, that's not a record you want to be part of. We're going to win 11 games without picking off a pass. I mean, that's just – I know, obviously, as the years go by, passes getting picked off, 40, 50 years ago were commonplace. Obviously passes get picked off, of course. Yeah, but 11 games without picking a pass off is just, wow. Absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. When it comes to the Giants, most of the attention this offseason has gone where you'd expect, to the quarterback, right? Between Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, even maybe Jameson Winston, right? While headlines have focused on the flashier storylines, Big Blue secondary finished 8th in pass defense in 2024. And this is back end that made major investments, signing both Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland to lucrative contracts to bolster the unit. Despite that, the defensive backs have been largely lost in the noise, and that's exactly how second-year safety Tyler Nubin likes it. We cool, man. We know what we got, so we don't need too many people talking about us. I see a bunch of guys that are hungry and guys that want it. Giants secondary is flying heavily under the radar, and the silence could become their secret weapon in 2025. The fact that people aren't talking about this group means that they have plenty of bulletin board material heading into 2025. In 13 starts as a rookie, the Minnesota product amassed 98 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and showed the poise and field awareness that made him one of the most NFL-ready safeties in his draft class. As I said, in 13 starts, if he played the whole season, he would have had well over 100 tackles in his rookie season. According to Pro Football Focus, his 76 run defense grade placed him 29th out of 171 qualified safeties. Not too bad for a rookie. Not too bad. And hopefully he only gets better. 24-year-old Kane was selected to replace the departed Xavier McKinney, who finished second in football with 8 interceptions in Green Bay. Nubin, a second-round pick in 2024, is poised to take a big leap in year 2. And he's surrounded by talent and experience across the board. Holland was signed to join Nubin in forming one of the league's best safety tandems as he hopes to return to form outside of Miami. And with ball hawk Dane Belton, who will have a meaningful role for Shane Bowen's defense, also present, the safety room is stacked. 2024 third round Andrew Phillips, 78.5 PFF grade, ranked 13th among all qualified cornerbacks. All. And it looks poised to be the Giants' nickel corner of the foreseeable future. Then there's Deonte Banks, who suffered a statistical regression in 2024, but the former first-rounder has all of the talent to warrant a bounce-back campaign. Add in Adebo, and like Holland, was spectacular in 2023, but appeared in just 7 games last year due to a broken femur. And the secondary is loaded with both upside and depth. Put it all together, New York secondary could be the best the team has had in years, most likely since Antro Roll, Corey Webster, and Kenny Phillips helped deliver a Lombardi Trophy to the East Rutherford back in 2011. Yeah, there was some good players. Giant fans may soon have a new reason to believe their defense can rise to elite status once again, and Nubin is only adding fuel to the fire. So, all right. So, I mean, that's something, certainly without question, that's not should not be overlooked. I mean, we had some talent there. It was definitely with some talent, especially with Nubin and Phillips getting drafted. And then of course, then we in the off season we just wind up adding Javon Howland, and we wind up adding Paulson Adebo. I mean, the secondary can really, really be good now. Hopefully Banks, if he wins the job, the starting job is cornerback number 2, right? I mean, they'll give us a good solid 5, right? And also then we have Flott, right? Who should be a good backup. Dane Belton is, as they were talking about in that article, is a ball hawk. So, we certainly got a very good secondary. Thing is, can we stay healthy? Right? Because Phillips, right, lost some time with injury. Newman lost some time with injury. So can we stay healthy now? That's the key. That's the key. That's the big question. All right, now the joint practice, right? Had the 2 of them. One was in one with the Jets were home, and then the other one with the Giants were home, right? And of course, then this Saturday they're going to be playing each other for real. Now, of course, I think there was only one kind of like a little fight going on there, right? Tempers got up a little bit. Apparently, there was no tackling to the ground. Well, apparently one of the idiots from the Jets didn't quite understand what that meant, and he tackled. I think it was Tyrone Tracy. I think he tackled to the ground. But when you're an idiot, you just don't. It's accept. If you're just a total idiot, hey, you don't know what don't tackle to the ground. Right? Apparently, the other intelligent players out there knew what don't tackle to the ground means, and so it didn't happen but apparently one of the Jets was just a total absolute idiot, and he doesn't know what that means. So I think one of the Jets ripped off, I think, Greg Van Roten's helmet, and Van Roten got up to him, and it was kind of like hopefully kind of teasing him maybe to throw a punch or something like that, because then he would get kicked out of practice. But apparently that didn't happen. But tempers flared up a little bit, just a little bit. But I mean, the for the most part, I mean, the defenses did a very good job on both sides. I mean, so let's not forget, right? I mean, the Giants, got a good defense, but so do the Jets. Those guys collect a paycheck too, right? And the Jets have a very, very good defense. All right, so we got, let's see, as I start, is this one? Oh. All right, where are we at here? Okay, so we got, whoops, ball on here. All right, let me find something here. Jets. All right. Giants training camp winners from day 1. Joint practices. So it was in Florham Park, home of the Jets. Brian Burns has been a menace on the practice fields going against the offense of the New York Giants this summer. So it should have come to no surprise that the Giants outside linebacker would do the same against the Jets. In Tuesday's first of 2 joint practices, Burns had the most impressive performance of any Giant. He was dominant off the edge, working over first-round pick Mimbow, right, in just about every team period. You can tell just by watching Burns that every move he makes between the lines is made with a purpose. His combination of agility and burst jumps off the video in practice, but his game is not solely built on finesse. Burns converts speed to power well and plays with great leverage, certainly drawing the attention of opposing coaches and players. I think his game is unlimited, honestly. Giants All-Pro Dexter Lawrence said of Burns, he can speed rush you, he can power you, he can finesse you. He's not a little guy either, so he's got a lot to his game. He's tapped into more this training camp, and that's good to say. Theo Johnson, respectful but ain't afraid to scrap. is how General Manager Joe Shane described Johnson directly from the Giants scouting report shortly after they selected him in the 4th round of the draft 2 years ago. Johnson proved to be a weapon for Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart in team drills. His 40-yard catch from Dart and deep coverage void was impressive. Then he split a pair of Jets defenders in the red zone for an 8-yard scoring strike from Russell Wilson. Dexter Lawrence. The beast is back. Lawrence reminded everyone of what the Giants defense front looks like with him in there as he continues to ease into a full workload. He's easing in, right? The most impressive play of his day came when he chased down Jets quarterback Justin Fields from the line of scrimmage to the sideline, 10 yards downfield. Abdul Carter. He garnered his own spotlight, but Burns' dominance clouded what would have normally been a standout performance. Carter had 2 sacks in team periods and earned rave reviews from the Jets coach, Aaron Glenn. Devin Singletary. This was Motor's turn to take the lead in the backfield, led by Tyrone Tracy. Turbo Miller took a starring role in the preseason opener, while Cam Scatterbo continues to work his way back to the field from a hamstring injury. Singletary popped several runs by hitting interior holes with decisiveness and physicality. One of those went for a touchdown in the red zone drills. Jackson Dart. Dart built on the momentum he generated in the preseason debut. Again, he had enough juice in his arm to attack downfield, including on a 40-yard catch by Theo Johnson. The play of the day came courtesy of wide receiver Zach Pascal, and it was made possible by a tremendous back shoulder throw into traffic from Dart. Pascal completed the catch, then spun and tapped both of his feet down for the score. Brian Daboll loved the decision and the throw from Dart. And, of course, we got then Javon Holland. Provided textbook coverage on the back end, breaking up a pass from Fields that was intended for receiver Josh Reynolds by punching the ball out. He's emerging as quite the safety partner for Tyler Nubin. Now, don't forget, right? I mean, there's a video of that. From Javon Holland punching the ball out. Yeah. So the ball, it was caught. It was caught. And then he came in. It looked like it was caught. I'm not sure if the guy got his 2 feet down and made some type of like a football move or whatever it was, but it would have been close. But the ball, he punched the ball out. All right. So the Giants and Jets joint practice day 2. What we learned. One thing they said here is time is running out. Giants head coach Brian Daboll knows what time it is. He knows that while the Giants are still technically in training camp, that the September 7th regular season opener against the Washington Commanders is just 25 days away. It'll be here before you know it. In response to a question about undrafted wide receiver Bo Collins, who is back on the field after missing some practice time, Daboll said this: for those guys, or these guys that are competing for roster spots, availability is important because your time is running out. It's getting closer and closer to decision-making. It's getting closer and closer to the season. So all these guys that are not out there are doing everything they can to be back out there. So injury updates. Wide receiver Jalen Hyatt, cornerback Drew Phillips, and guard Evan Neal returned to practice for the Giants. Wide receiver Malik Neighbors, Daquan Felton, running back Scatterbo, and cornerback Trey Hawkins remained sidelined. Quarterback Tate Banks and tight end Chris Mandertz were held out of Wednesday's practice after working on Tuesday. Safety Tyler Nubin was seen working on the exercise bike during practice. He finished practice with his pads off. Jermaine Illuminor. He was excused from one of those practices because his wife gave birth to a baby girl, Amanda. So, I mean, I don't know if it's something on the, what would that be? I'm not sure if it's something on the right side of the Giants offensive line, because just, what was it, a few days earlier, right, GVR his wife gave birth to their second daughter. And now here's a couple days later, Jermaine Illuminor's wife gave birth to their first daughter. So I'm not sure if it's something, I don't know if that means John Michael Schmidt's wife's going to have a baby girl too, or something. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's something on the right side or not, but congratulations, Jermaine Illuminor. Now, also, one thing is that like listen to the Big Blue Kickoff Live, right? They come Monday through Friday on for about an hour every day. They do a very, very good job. One thing that they pretty much seem like they're in pretty much agreement of is that Jermaine Illuminor has been the most solid offensive lineman for the Giants so far this offseason, preseason, right? So there's a good chance, it's not like if you're thinking like Marcus Bowe or somebody like that is going to unseat him or anything. It doesn't really seem like that. Doesn't seem like that at all. Jermaine has done a phenomenal job. Really, really good job. It's going to be interesting to see because this is his second season with the Giants and he had only a 2-year contract. Interesting to see the Giants, or if he wants to come back or the Giants bring him back or not. But he's done very well so far in this preseason. No drop off from last year. Brian Burns. Marcus Bowe was the first team right tackle in Illuminor's absence. And apparently Marcus Bowe was looking pretty good too. Brian Burns, strong summer. Veteran edge defender Brian Burns has been dominant all summer. Let's see. And once again, even Sexy Dexy was noticing it. On Wednesday, Burns talked about what he wants to do entering his 7th NFL season. Just trying to take my game to a level it's never been, Burns said. That will require me doing things I've never did. I'm working with Dex quite a bit. Talking to Dex a lot, just how to manipulate body positions and use my length and power more, and not just my speed and finesse. That's been good to me so far. I'm going to keep working on that. This is step back rookie. Oh yeah, this is funny. This was funny. This is funny. Burns and rookie Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart were the scheduled podium speakers after practice. Shortly after practice ended, Carter came sprinting to the podium in the Giants' indoor practice facility, followed shortly by an out-of-breath, not having the rookie's nonsense, Burns. Carter was at the podium first, but Burns shooed him away. Was that Burns, as a veteran player, pulling rank on the rookie? Burns said, "Damn right," said Burns. Because what happened was, I guess right after the second day was over, Carter immediately ran in, and he was standing at the podium, and he was just standing there. He was just and I'm not sure if Burns is supposed to speak for, I don't know, but Carter was just standing there. He wasn't breathing heavy or nothing. And I guess Burns, or somebody told Burns that Carter already's in there, and I guess Burns wanted to speak first, and so that he can go in instead of waiting around. So Burns sprinted in, and by the time he got in, he was out of breath. He was like, and he said, and Carter was going to give him a fist pump or something like that, and Burns was like, I ain't having none of that, man. So move out of the way, get out of there. Move, or get out. And Carter was laughing, Carter. So Carter went, see Carter leave. And Burns, he was like, he was hanging his head. He's down by the, he's like, what's up? He's like, he's all out of breath and everything because he ran in. And I think Jordan Renan asked him the question. He said, is that you pulling a seniority rank or something like that? And Burns, he's like, damn right it is. So I guess he wants to speak. I wanted to speak to the media first so he could get in. So that's why he made Carter wait. But it was funny. It's a video. It's on a video too. It's funny. It really is funny. It's a pocket to pass from. Seriously, after Saturday's game during the Giants passed the ball 45 times against the Bills without any of their 4 quarterbacks taking a sack. Starter Russell Wilson said there was a lot of space for him to maneuver in the pocket. Rookie quarterback Jackson Dart went out of his way in the game's aftermath to laud the lineman. I sent a message to them after the game that I've never played in a pocket like this, Dart said. They've been able to compete at such a high level. As a quarterback, when you're able to play behind that, it makes your job a lot easier. And I thought that they did a great job. Here we go. This is about the fight. Smart retaliation. Giants offense and the Jets defense were involved in scrums on back-to-back running plays. It looked like the Giants guard Greg Van Rote and the Jets edge defender Will McDonald were involved, as well as Giants guard John Runyon and Jets cornerback Quantez Stiggers. Marcus Bowe called the action by the Giants veteran guard smart retaliation. It's retaliation. It's not like you're just going to hit him. It's not like he didn't do anything, Bowe said, so it's a response. I respect coaches' wishes not to fight, but it gets to a point where you can't just let people just jump all over you. How many times is too many before retaliation is needed? One time's too much, Bowe said. So that was one of the idiots for the Jets took one of our running backs down to the ground, and there was some retaliation there. But apparently, I guess like nobody got kicked out at all or anything like that. So it wasn't like an all-out brawl or anything like that. But apparently, unfortunately, it is what it is, right? But apparently, Mr. Jude McAteeney did not have a phenomenal practice session, shall we say. Place kickers don't miss many field goals during practice sessions without a rush coming at them. Thus, it was kind of jarring to see second-year place kicker Jude McAteeney make only 6 of 9 field goal attempts on Wednesday. He kicked in 2 sessions, making 3 out of 5 the first time with back-to-back misses wide left from 45 and 50 yards, though he did make a kick from roughly 53 yards. In McAteeney's second go-around, he missed a 33-yard extra point. Not impressive. Not impressive at all. But, to be fair and all that stuff and everything, right? We still have Graham Gano, and he looked pretty good against the Bills, right? He made 3 50-yard field goals, although one of them he did have to kiss off the upright. But also in the second joint practice, the Giants defense strong again in joint practice versus the Jets. Giants defense wins for the second straight day against Gang Green. But I said that, it was kind of a lot of what I heard too, right? Is that, the Jets defense looked pretty good too. So don't think that the Giants offense dominated or anything like that against the Jets defense. The Jets defense, did pretty darn good. But as I said, let's not forget, I said, I don't know who was missing for the Jets. That I don't know. But what I do know is that our best wide receiver, our best 2 players on offense were not on the field. Our best offensive lineman and our best wide receiver were not on the field. That makes a big difference. You put Malik Neighbors out there, okay? That's huge. Open stuff up. Okay, got to pay a lot of attention to Mr. Neighbors, okay? And I said if we have our best left tackle out there too, that can make a difference as well. So, but to be expected, the Jets defense played pretty well. That's their strong point, right? So, although once again, things could be, what would you say? Surprising, but possibility early on that, the game won't be a high scoring affair. Like I said, once you start getting the second and third string defenses in there, things can happen, right? But, there's a good chance it may not wind up being 34-25 like it was against the Bills and the Giants. Right? Let's see here. The Giants hosted the Jets for their second joint practice of the week on Wednesday ahead of their Saturday matchup at MetLife Stadium, where the Giants will be the home team. Right? Another hot August day was highlighted by the Giants defense harassing the Jets offense and holding Justin Fields to a marginal passing day on 11-on-11 drills. Tate Banks was added to the Giants injury report and did not practice. Drew Phillips returned but practiced sparingly. I was unable to see the 7-on-7 red zone due to my vantage point, but I ascertained that Justin Fields went 4 of 7 twice in his 2 periods, 8 of 14 total. Fields' 4 completions were touchdowns in the initial session. Again, it was red zone. Phillips and Cordell Flott had their snaps limited, leading to plenty of first-team reps for Nick Jones and T.J. Moore. So once again, the Giants didn't necessarily have their starters on the field. right? D. Williams also received a few first-team reps. So we got Nick Jones, T.J. Moore, and D. Williams receiving first-team reps. So, of course, that might make the Jets' offensive numbers look a little bit better than maybe what they would, right, under normal circumstances. Let's see. Something must have happened to Tyler Nubin early in practice, presumably in 7-on-7 drills. He was off to the side on the bike without pads by the middle of practice. Raheem Lane received first-team reps with Nubin out, and Dane Belton saw the field often in 2 and 3 safety sets. Belton was receiving nickel snaps with Phillips on a pitch count. So, it's we have guys in the secondary who can play at a very high level. The problem is, can they stay healthy? Can Phillips stay healthy? Can Nubin stay healthy? Can Flott stay healthy? Giants' first-team defense got after Fields and held the Jets' passing attack in check. First 11-on-11 period. This is from Nick Filato. Kayvon started with a big tackle for loss. The Jets' biggest play was a zone read Fields keeper around Burns. Not sure who, if secondary, would contain. The run defense was sound. A lot of tackles around the line of scrimmage. Potential sacks. Abdul Carter, Micah McFadden. Let's see. Oh, we got it all on there. I'm going to his Twitter feed here. Chauncey Golston, Toman Fox. So, Nick Filato. The Giants' first-team defense continues to pressure Justin Fields. Burns likely had a sack off play action on the last period. There may have been another sack versus the first team that led to an incompletion. The Jets also had a false start. However, Fields did break off another, let's see here. Go to Nick Filato's Twitter page here, and let's see here. Fields did break off another huge long zone read that may have went for a touchdown. Allen also hit a huge weak side run that was likely a touchdown. Giants weren't bad against the run, but those were notable plays. So that's one thing, without question, the Giants are definitely going to have to clean up this year. Without question. That defense, that run defense. Because even Mr. Mara, he said, I'm getting a little sick and tired of seeing other teams just walk up and down the field on our defense. And, when you think about, the Giants, you don't think so much the offense, you think Giants defense, right? And when another team can just walk up and down the field against the Giants defense, it's not pretty. It'll be interesting to see, can the Giants do a better job this season against the run? If not, I'd like to see him do like next season in the draft, would be get somebody up the middle, right? Somebody, whether it's because you don't know what the Giants are going to do with. Let's hope they can find and re-sign Micah McFadden. That would be fantastic, right? But if Bobby Okereke's next season with the Giants, they might even, I don't even know. I don't know. But next season they signed him for 4 years. So next year would be Bobby Okereke's 4th year, with the Giants. So, I don't know if the Giants want to add maybe a huge defensive tackle early in the draft, where they got Darius Alexander in the 3rd round. Maybe if they get somebody on the offense in the 1st round, then it goes a good stud defensive tackle, something in the 2nd round, or vice versa. Take somebody, up the middle. Somebody who can clog up the middle, whether it's a defensive lineman or a real good linebacker, right? I would really like that. Giants and defense, go somebody up the middle, really help against that run. Be fantastic. Now, with Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan here. Now, the thing is here with him, that the Giants are definitely going to have to wind up paying, doing their due diligence, picking the phone up, making some calls, because the last thing that they, what I want to do is wind up losing this guy and getting nothing in return. Now, I'm not sure if that they would make any type of a trade, right, with another team, exactly what you're going to get in return for maybe like a third string quarterback. But what he did do, he might be a third string quarterback on another team, but he's been a third string quarterback in this league who won football games for a crappy team. Crappy team. No offensive weapons, very, bad offensive line, and he actually won some football games for the Giants. One of the games I think he was involved in that the Giants should have won was a game against the Jets when Graham Gano missed it was like a 30-something yard field goal because he was injured. Allowed the Jets, who had like no offense the whole game, and somehow they came up with back-to-back long plays, got them in field goal position, kicked the tying field goal, went to overtime, and went up winning in overtime. Now, Graham Gano was not injured. Quite possibly he makes that field goal, puts the Giants up by 6 points, and the Jets would need a touchdown, not a field goal. Now, I don't know if the Jets would have scored a touchdown. Maybe they would have, maybe not. But, I mean, that would be another game that Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan was in. I don't think he started that game, but he was in that game, and they could have possibly won that game as well, too. So, he may not be the most flashiest guy in the world, but he's shown that he can play in this league with a crappy team and win football games, right? So he'll be a wanted man. If the Giants just try to get him on the practice squad, he's probably not going to pass waivers. Somebody's going to just pick him up, and that winds up happening. Or even if he goes on the practice squad, you don't get nothing. If he makes it on the practice squad, if another team needs a quarterback, then they pluck him off the practice squad. You don't get nothing for that. You don't get an attaboy. You don't get a thank you card, a Christmas card, nothing. They just pluck them. Right. So the Giants might want to pick this phone up and start calling around. See if they can get anything in return for him. As I said, because it would really be a shame if they don't want to lose him, because they're gonna have a hard time. You can make a case that they can keep 4 running backs. You can make a case that they can keep 4 tight ends. You can make a case that they can keep like 10 offensive linemen. You can make a case that they can keep 6 wide receivers. These are all too many, right? So there's no way they're keeping 4 quarterbacks on this roster. Not happening. And unfortunately, Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan is going to be the one out. They got one guy out, unfortunately. So Tommy DeVito's trade window just swung wide open for the Giants after the preseason showing, and that's that's another one of the things. It's like some of the guys, like what Tommy DeVito did, drove the Giants. Well, the one he didn't really necessarily drive the Giants, because the Giants recovered that fumble deep in Buffalo territory, and we scored points off of that. Tommy DeVito scored some points off it. It's not like he drove the Giants down the length of the field for that, but he scored in the fourth quarter. The Giants scored 2 times. Right? It's the same thing like with Turbo Miller. Now, the Giants' running game was nothing super spectacular. Okay. Our Jackson Dart was that leading rusher, which is not something you want to see. Turbo Miller had 10 carries for 22 yards. Nothing super spectacular at all. But what was spectacular was like our Shreen game. He converted like 4, I think, long third down conversions. I mean, he shows what he can do in space. And he can convert some third down. So he's putting on tape some good stuff. And if he does it again Saturday against the Jets, and even or maybe or Thursday against the Patriots, he keeps putting some good stuff on. Other teams are going to see that, right? So if you want to try to get him on the practice squad, first they got to put him in waivers, right? If he clears waivers, then he get on the practice squad. But these guys are putting good stuff on tape. It's not going to be a surprise. Right? I mean, other teams are, Tommy DeVito, he's a quarterback. Who? What? I mean, he's on the radar of some teams. Same thing with Turbo Miller, right? Because his speed is very, very impressive. So that's the one thing about, especially, like if the guys on trying to make the Giants roster. If they don't make it, it's not the end of the world. But what they want to do is put some real good stuff on tape, right? So if the Giants don't keep them, another team might have some interest in them, right? A lot of teams could be looking for a lot of teams could be looking for cutlets, which is true. I mean, there's obviously there's certain things in this league that is in short supply out there, right? One of them is good quarterback play. That's one of the reasons why it will be very kind of difficult really to do a lot of expansion, and it's be very, very difficult because we have a hard time. There's always whatever 5, 6, 7, 8 teams, whatever, always looking for a quarterback. And, it's amazing that the population in the world is as big as it is, and we can't even find 32, really good quarterbacks. I mean, there's a ton of quarterbacks out there, but how many of them can really play at a high NFL level? That's why it's very difficult. I said for like maybe expansion. Yeah, because you're gonna, I mean, it's almost impossible to win without a good quarterback. Really. Tommy DeVito might not be long, for New York. That was already the feeling heading into camp, but it's starting to feel more like a reality than a debate after a strong outing against the Bills on Saturday. Teams around the league took notice, and the Titans might be the first to pick up the phone. Now, let's not forget, the Titans are first in the pecking order. Okay? The Giants are third. I think it's at the end of, after the first three, it's the end of the first, the first month. I think it's the first 3 games of the season. The Giants are third in pecking order. So which is nice because after the teams cut down from 90 down to 53, the Giants are third. So if there's 1 or 2 guys out there that the Giants think can really help the team out, right, the Giants will be third in the pecking order. So that's good. Really, really good. That's obviously another one of the good things, about being crappy the year before. Tennessee just signed journeyman Trevor Siemian to help stabilize their quarterback room after Tim Boyle flopped in their preseason opener. The move doesn't completely erase the need for another option, though, especially not if the team has serious doubts about Brandon Allen backing up first overall pick Cam Ward. DeVito isn't exactly a world beater, but he's better than that duo right now. The Titans were recently linked to Tommy Cutlets in an article by Jeremy Brenner of SI, who suggested New York should consider flipping him while there's still time. Yep, it's not a bad idea. With Russell Wilson, Jameson Winston, and Jackson Dart not going anywhere, DeVito would either have to beat out Winston or the team would have to carry 4 quarterbacks. That's not happening. And that's just not going to happen. Tommy DeVito trade makes more sense than fans might think. DeVito landing on the practice squad feels like the likeliest outcome, but that's where things get dicey. Any team can grab him once he's there. And so the thing is that if he waivers, another team can scoop him off waivers, right? They get exit to the practice squad. Any team can just go in there and just pluck him off there, the practice squad, but they have to put him on a 53-man roster. You can't go from practice squad to practice squad. But if he's just a sitting duck on the Giants practice squad, any team come in there and pick him up. And the Giants get nothing in return for him. Nothing, not even a Christmas card. Right? Let's see. So once he's on a practice squad, any team can grab him once he's there. And if that's the route they take, they could lose him for nothing. For a guy with starting experience who won over a fan base and just looked rock solid in live action, that would be a tough pill to swallow. Yes, it would be. I mean, if you got a quarterback that can win some games, and I'm not saying, certainly ain't saying he's a Hall of Famer and all pro, nothing like that, but He can win some football games in the NFL, and to lose him for absolutely nothing, that would be a tough pill to swallow. At the very least, New York should see what they can get for the 27-year-old. It's not like they got a day two. They're not getting a day two pick for him, but a late rounder or a young player who could push for a roster spot would definitely be enough to justify making a deal. That's just good business, especially when his path to the roster is this crowded. Saturday's preseason version of DeVito will have suitors for DeVito if he's made available, whether it's Tennessee or someone else. Titans aren't exactly flush with quarterback depth, even after signing Simeon. They're still one injury away from a complete meltdown. If they believe in Ward as their future but want insurance behind him, that won't torpedo the offense. DeVito is a cheap and reasonable fallback. Big Blue doesn't have to force anything, but if a team comes calling, there's no harm in tickling some fancy. It's not often you can turn an undrafted free agent into a quality asset, but DeVito's built up enough goodwill and reps over the years to have some value. And if this team is going to lose him anyway, they might as well get something back. Practice squad or not, DeVito's future probably isn't in New York. Might as well try to get something in return for him. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It would be a shame, as I said. I mean, if you wind up with, somebody, a quarterback with the team the Giants had a couple of years ago, and he won some games for us. Let me tell you what, he actually won some games with that team, with that roster, with that offensive line, with pretty much a lot of lack of weapons and all of that. And Tommy DeVito stepped up and won some games for us. I'm not saying he's going to be a hot commodity, but he's going to be, he'll be a wanted man by somebody. And I said to lose a quarterback and not get at least a 6th round or maybe a 7th round pick in return, man, that'd be a darn shame. Darn shame. All right. Well, the New York Giants, right, are the 3rd most valuable franchise in the NFL. Now, they're running almost neck and neck with the Rams. Now, the one thing is what you look at, right? Is you figure, the Giants have, right? We've sucked for a long time, and we're still the 3rd, right? And the Rams, they almost beat the Eagles last season on the road. Right, they played better against the Eagles than any of the other teams did in the playoffs, right? So the Rams are, a little bit more valuable than the Giants are. Of course, the Dallas Cowboys, the Cowgirls are number 1, right? As much as Jerry Jones keeps seeming he just seemed to screw that team up year after year after. I mean, haven't won a Super Bowl since what? The 95 early 96, but it was after the 95 season, right? They won in 92, they won in 93, San Francisco won in 94, and then 95 was the Cowboys. So basically the 95 season, right? Where we at? The 25 season. So the Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years, and still they're the number 1. And Jerry just seems to keep screwing that up. That's why we need to punch the Cowboys in the mouth. We need to beat them. We need to go into Dallas and show them who's boss. We got to beat them. Giants are the 3rd NFL's 3rd most valuable franchise, just behind the Rams. Giants have a long and storied history that only a few NFL franchises can claim. Of course, the Arizona Cardinals, the Chicago Bears, and the Green Bay Packers are the only 3 teams that have been active for longer than the Giants. Now, the Cardinals, right, were the Chicago Cardinals in 1920. That's when that was the first season or first year. It was the American Professional Football Association. It was the American Professional Football Association from 1920, 1921. 1922, it became the NFL. But in 1920, the American Professional Football Association, the Chicago Cardinals, and the Decatur Staleys, who became the Chicago Bears, were around. In 1921, the Green Bay Packers entered the scene. In 1925, of course, we know the New York Giants. In 1920, it was the Decatur Staleys. 1921, it became the Chicago Staleys. 1922, it became the Chicago Bears. So the first 3 seasons, the Bears had different names each year, right? But as it says in this article, the Cardinals and the Bears have been around since 1920, and the Green Bay Packers around 1921. The Giants, of course, although entered in 1925. But a team's longevity in the league doesn't have much bearing on what the organization is worth today. Now, because I'll forget. I mean, Green Bay is like the smallest market. Chicago's a nice sized market, but we're in New York City, right? Huge, right? For example, the Dallas Cowboys joined the league in 1960, nearly 40 years after the Giants, well, 35. Yet they are the most valuable franchise in 2025. Sportico released its annual NFL valuations on Wednesday, and the Cowboys topped the list. The Giants, though, finally broke the $10 billion mark and have become the 3rd most valuable team in the NFL. Here are the most 5 valuable NFL franchises per Sportico's annual NFL valuations that are being released today. Cowboys at $12.8 billion. So they're about $2.5 billion worth more than the Giants. The Rams are $10.43 billion. The Giants are $10.25 billion. So we're like $175 million or something like that. A little chump change right behind the Rams. But the Giants start, right? The Giants start, winning, right, on a consistent basis. They start turning this thing around. They start go into the playoffs, right, and all of that. They might become number 2. It's going to be hard to overtake the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys can not win a game for the next 3 trillion years, and they'll still be number 1. So the Patriots are number 4, $8.76 billion, although I think they're going to start coming back down to earth a little bit because they're no longer winning Super Bowls. Tom Brady's not there. Bill Belichick's not there anyway. The 49ers are $8.6 billion. So the Giants are number 3. And I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in the near future they become the number 2. The Cowboys have been ranked number 1 all 6 years of the Sportico's valuations. Last year, the Cowboys were the first team to crack $10 billion. Giants valuation is up 34% from 2024. 34%. Wow. Below the team valuations listed on Sportico's site is an explanation of how they determined the values, what assets they counted, etc. Part of the explanation is as follows. The 2025 valuation, the sum of the enterprise value of an NFL franchise combined with the value of team-related businesses and real estate holdings. Team value. NFL franchise valuations derive from metrics by which football team transactions occur, including aggregating local and national revenues and factoring in team-specific multiplier. This represents the market value of the team itself, excluding related businesses held by its owners. It includes the value of each franchise's 3.13% interest in the league's properties, including NFL Films, NFL Red Zone, 32 Equity, the private equity investment vehicle established by the NFL in 2013, and its digital platforms, which are acquired and disposed in tandem with the sale of a team. There is additional category for the team-related businesses and real estate holdings, which is broken down in a way that attempts to eliminate and counting any money coming to the team that's not directly related to football operations. This year, the Giants have a chance to prove that they're located the train tracks or the getting back on board. Being one of the top valued teams in the league, they need to start showing it on the field. They don't have to make the playoffs in 2025, although that is always the goal. If they can put together a winning season and pass the eye test, it will go a long way toward the team being worth what it's valued at. So, of the top 5 teams with the highest valuation, only the Cowboys and the Giants have missed the Super Bowl for the last 10 years. which proves that just because a franchise is worth more money doesn't mean that they feel they're a better football team, right? I mean, the Cowboys. The Cowboys have not, not been in the Super Bowl, right, since the after the '95 season. Right, when they beat the Steelers, where the 20s, I forgot what it was, 27-21 or 21-20 or 21-7, whatever that was when they beat the Steelers. But I mean, they haven't been to the Super Bowl in 30 years, right? And they're still the number one, right? I mean, they could be a horrible team and they still be number one. But at least the Giants are working their way up, and they can actually want to put some good product on the field. Right, they actually might have a chance at overtaking the Rams somewhere along the line and becoming the number 2 worth team in the NFL. Right. Now I saw this. It was an article was talking about Travis Hunter. Right, obviously maybe playing wide receiver and cornerback. Right, possibly. But, there is a player, right, on the Giants who's not playing wide receiver and cornerback, but who might wind up playing, right, offense and defense for the New York Football Giants. And I'll tell you what, this dude gets in the backfield. Watch out. I mean, certainly not saying he's going to be, maybe carrying the ball, but for a blocker. I mean, the guy I heard might be like the strongest guy pound for pound on the team. I mean, he's just a fire plug, Mr. Elijah Chapman, right? So, all right, where we at here? Travis Hunter, who? Giants also have a player who could be playing both ways this season. Travis Hunter isn't the only NFL player lining up on offense and defense, it seems. Chapman wants to do this too, so I'm sure he would be a fantastic blocker for the Giants. The NFL world is entranced by Travis Hunter as the number 2 overall pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Comes into the league looking to play both wide receiver and cornerback. Not only did Hunter play both ways at the collegiate level while at Colorado, but did so at an extremely high level. Rightfully so. It has built up a lot of hype around Hunter, but it sounds like he may not be the only player in the NFL lining up on both offense and defense this season. Also noted by Art Stapleton of the NorthJersey.com, the New York Giants have deployed Elijah Chapman on both sides of the ball during the club's joint practice with the Jets on Tuesday. Stapleton reports that the Giants have been sparingly using Chapman, who is primarily a defensive tackle, as a fullback. Chapman lined up as a fullback to begin this session and helped pave the way for a running back, Devin Singletary, to break off a long run. After that, he made his way to the opposite field where the Giants' defense was working against the Jets' offense and lined up as his normal position along the defensive line. Not too shabby. This isn't the first time folks have seen the Giants line Chapman up at fullback. However, doing so during the early days of training camp back in late July, he also saw time at fullback during his days in college at SMU. All right, there's a let's see, there's a video here. It shows Chapman in the backfield, and wow. Oh, yeah. The 24-year-old entered the league as an undrafted free agent and worked his way onto the opening 53-man roster last summer. In 17 games, he played 3 starts. Chapman totaled 21 tackles, 3 quarterback hits, and a sack. The 6 foot is very low to the ground, but 6 foot tall, 278 pounds. Now, that's his body weight. You put the uniform and all that stuff, the guy weighs probably about 290 pounds. That's a big size fullback. Athletic, strong. We've seen him chase a running back down, so he's fast, he's strong, he's low to the ground, he's powerful. I mean, it would be a fantastic fullback in spot duty, of course. I mean, it's not somebody who's going to be lining up at fullback 25 times a game, but hey, maybe down at the goal line, maybe on 4th and 1, whatever like that, 4th and 3rd and 1, whatever. You want a fullback in there and give you some punch, right? Chapman just might be the guy, right? Chapman told, let's see here. The 6', 278-pounder did not log any snaps on the offensive side of the ball during his rookie season, but it seems like that may change as he embarks on a sophomore season that is poised to put even more on his plate. Well, let's hope. Obviously, first things first. First he has to make the team, right? Because we did add, a few guys on the deep, Ledbetter, Robinson Harris, right? We got Nacho. We got some guy by the name of Dexter Lawrence. We got Darius Alexander. We got maybe Chapman, Elijah Garcia, Corey Durden, Jordan Riley, DJ Davidson. We got a lot of guys, and they're going to keep like maybe 6. You have to maybe imagine that probably Chapman will be one of those 6 guys, right? But as I said, he would probably be the absolute perfect fullback because he's not tall at all. He can get low to the ground. He's strong. Once again, strong, powerful. He can work up some speed. And you got like 280 pounds coming at you as a fullback. Want to block you? Oh yeah. I mean, that's been one of the Giants' Achilles' heels over the past whatever. Right, 3rd down and 1, 4th down and 1. I mean, we haven't had the offensive line being able to blow guys off the ball, right? We haven't had a big time running back who can just we haven't had no Brandon Jacobs who can just run into the hole and plow people over. Haven't had that in a while, so that's the case, and we don't. Maybe Cam Scatterboo. Right, he might be able to work some of his magic because he's so low to the ground. He's hard to bring down and all that and everything. But even still, I mean, he's not 240 pounds or anything like that. I mean, certain instances, certain situations, quite possibly having Elijah Chapman out there would be pretty damn cool. Pretty damn cool. And I tell you what, I'm sure he would love to do it. I'm sure he would do it. As good a job as he humanly possibly can. Yeah, unfortunately, as time goes by, you keep seeing more and more guys, retiring. Of course, and so another Giant, who's with the Giants for 2 seasons, right? He's calling it quits, hanging them up. His last season was with the Giants was in 2023. I think if I read this article, I don't think he was in the league at all last year. And he apparently he was Matt Breida, right? Yeah, at least one team I think came a knocking or came a calling, and he said, nah, no, thank you. I guess maybe the 1 year he was out of the league last year, I guess just took the fire out of him or whatever. But tell you what, the guy was 7 seasons in the NFL. Yeah. Not many guys make it in the NFL. Now, once again, he's not a Hall of Famer, or anything like that. He didn't. I mean, what's he have? It's like, what do you have? A little over 2,000 yards. Let's see here. What do we got here? 2,652 yards rushing. What do we got here? 935 yards receiving. I didn't think he had that many. He had 120 catches. 935 yards, 6 touchdowns. So we got the 27. That was like 3,600 total yards. I mean, I'll tell you what, 7 seasons in the NFL, 3,600 total yards. I mean, not many people can say they did something like that. So now he was with San Francisco for the first 3 years, 2017, 18, and 19. 2020, he was with Miami. 2021, he was with Buffalo. 2022 and 2023, he was with the Giants. Now, of course, with 2021 with Buffalo, right? Well, who was in Buffalo in 2021? Shannon Dable. So that familiarity. So that's why he went up 2022 and 2023. He was with the Giants. What do we got here? I mean, 2023 was just an absolute horrible season, period, for the Giants, right? But he only averaged 2.7 yards a carry. So, I mean, that was by far his worst. In 2021, when he was with the Bills, he had averaged 4.8 yards a carry. His one season in 2022, backing up Saquon, he had 54 rushes, 220 yards. He averaged 4.1 yards a carry. What do you got? He had 20 catches for 118 yards. Okay. But then 2023, he averaged 2.7 yards a carry. I don't know exactly. I mean, if he had some injuries that were affecting his running or whatever it was, but another Giant hanging it up. Ex-Giant running back is retiring at the age of 30. But as I said, I mean, he ain't got nothing to be ashamed of at all. Played 7 years in the NFL. That's a pretty impressive thing. Running back Matt Breida is planning to retire after 7 seasons in the NFL, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. According to ESPN, Miami Dolphins recently requested a workout with the 30-year-old, but he declined. Breida spent his career with the Giants, the 49ers, the Dolphins, and the Bills. Over 98 games, he rushed for 2,652 yards and 9 touchdowns. He also added 935 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. So he scored 15 touchdowns in his career. And he had, 3,600 yards total. I mean, that's not a bad career. Not a bad career at all. And he got nothing to be ashamed of. Breida was a backup for the Giants during 2022 and 2023 behind some guy by the name of Saquon Barkley. In those final NFL seasons, he appeared in 34 games, 5 starts, and rushed for 371 yards with 2 touchdowns. Breida spent time with the 49ers at training camp last year, but was released before the 2024 season. And I guess nobody wound up picking him up. Let's see what we got here. Recent Giants running back Matt Breida resurfaced in the news on August 14th as it was revealed that the veteran plans to officially end his NFL career. Let's see. Breida played his last regular season game with the G-Men in 2023, appearing in all 17 of the Giants contests that year. Breida was a role player who chipped in on special teams and offense with Big Blue. He was well-liked and well-regarded by his teammates and fans, although it was clear that his game had lost a step during that final season, as his yards per carry average plummeted from 4.1 yards per carry to 2.7 during his second campaign with the Giants, his second year with the Giants, 2.7. Let's see. Giants have undergone a clear youth movement of running back outside of veteran Devin Singletary. In 2025 could be Devin Singletary's final season on the roster, considering Big Blue can save $5.25 million by cutting Singletary before free agency next spring. So, General Manager Joe Shane has practiced a relatively simple strategy at the position since taking over. Draft a running back every year and don't overspend on the position in free agency. So, unfortunately, one of the reasons why, we, of course, needless to say, we didn't want to bring him back, Saquon Barkley. Right. So, I mean, you also look at it too, right? Is that, I mean, of course, the one thing is the one big thing, of course, is that, if Scadaboo can get healthy, come back from this hamstring or whatever it is, Saquon is up here, but he's going to start, going down, right? Sooner or later, right? Cam, we just drafted Cam, right? In the 4th round, he's on his way up. Right, so he's going on his way up, and Saquon, who's getting paid almost like $20 million a year, is going to be on his way down. So, as Saquon's going down, we got Tracy and Cam Scadaboo on their way up. Right, between Tracy and Scadaboo, they're getting paid about $2 million a year between the two of them. Saquon's getting about $20 million a year. Right, 15 to 20, whatever the Eagles gave him a bonus or whatever it was, upped his salary or something like that. So we can literally get 10 players for the price of what they're paying Saquon. We can get, between Tracy and Scadaboo, they're going to make about $2 million, somewhere around there, compared to what Saquon's getting. And those guys are young, on their way up, and Saquon's on his way down. So, I mean, that is what it, I mean, you figure, right? You figure we drafted what? Gray, right? So every year we keep drafting like a running back, right? We drafted Gray, and then we drafted Tracy, then we drafted Scadaboo. So, and we have Turbo Miller. Now, of course, at the end of the season, if we still have all 4 of those guys, if we have meaning Miller, Scatterboo and Tracy. That might be a nice threesome to try to head into next season with. We'll have to wait and see. But Matt Breida, as I said, there's nothing to be ashamed of. He had himself a fantastic career. Fantastic career. All right, ending on this one here. The Giants draft pick, is he running out of time? I'll tell you what. I mean, your best ability is your availability. Can't make the club in the tub, right? And he's been needing to prove himself this year, needing to step up, show that he can perform. Russell Wilson, of course, has been talking him up and all of that and everything, but he's been missing time. He has been missing time. Now, the thing is that, after the game next Thursday, right? I think it's Tuesday, the following Tuesday. Is it 4 o'clock? It's either 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, but it's the following Tuesday. But that's when cutdowns go, right? I mean, Hyatt's can't make the field. I mean, what are the Giants going to put him on injury reserve? Right? I mean, disappointing to say the least. Very disappointing. Brian Dable might finally have a case to cut ties with failed draft pick. There are a lot of factors at play here, though. So, New York Giants enter the 2025 season as one of the more interesting teams in the league. Joe Shane has done a great job adding more talent to our roster that was in desperate need of it. Still, if there was any other year, their outlook would likely look much better, but blessed with the hardest strength of schedule so things could get off rails fast. That's right. This is a team that's seemingly been allergic to the end zone the past couple of seasons. Their offense teetered on unwatchable. It was unwatchable. And their defense didn't fare much better. If the G-men are going to get out of the basement, they need all the help they can get, even if that means addition by subtraction. After back-to-back difficult seasons, third-year wide receiver Jalen Hyatt needed to show he could stick. It looked like he'd been making some strides this offseason. His early connection with new starting quarterback Russell Wilson felt like something bigger to come until it didn't. And thanks to some injury misfortune and a handful of training camp risers, Brian Dable is running out of reasons to keep Jalen Hyatt around. Jalen Hyatt might be running out of time in New York. When the Giants traded up in the third round of the 2023 draft to select Hyatt, they thought that they'd give their offense a vertical weapon. The reigning Biletnikoff Award winner at the time was viewed as the perfect fix for the explosive playmaking piece the team had been missing. He was a barn burner, someone who could take the top off the defense. Unfortunately, things just haven't clicked for the 23-year-old. 2 years in, the former Tennessee Vol has 31 receptions for 435 yards. Wow. And exactly 0 touchdowns. Not exactly stick-worthy stuff, but it's hard for teams to give up on players drafted early, especially when the team moves up to take them. But that's how things are shaking out in East Rutherford, at least for now. At the beginning of the offseason, it looked like Hyatt might finally break out. Wilson publicly backed him, saying he had untapped potential he was able to pull out of him almost instantly at OTAs. An apparent leg injury put a stop to that progress, and that's when his slide back into the shadows resumed. Hyatt's been in and out of practice since, and that's not exactly helping his case to move up the depth chart. Unfortunately, he missed an opportunity to showcase his development against the Bills in the first preseason game Saturday, as he was out due to injury. 2 other receivers fighting for the roster spot took full advantage of his absence. Montrell Washington and a little, who's not very little, Jordan Humphrey put pressure on Hyatt with their Saturday performances, in addition to their standout camps. Throw in Bo Collins, who's been lighting up training camp in his own right and getting some run with the ones, and Hyatt's grip on a roster spot is slipping. It would be relatively shocking if the team decided to outright release him. That feels unlikely. But don't rule out Dave's giving Shane the green light to go ahead and make some trade calls in the 23-year-old. It might end up being a win-win for both parties. Between his struggles, durability concerns, questionable fit in the offense, and the emergence of the unexpected camp risers, it might be fair to start wondering if Hyatt is on borrowed time. Dable now has all the ammo he needs to make the move. So, we got, right? Here we are, right? Obviously, between Malik Neighbors, got Bo Collins, Little Jordan Humphrey, Zach Pascal, Daquan Felton. We got the Juice Wells, right? Teammates of Jackson Dart, Dalen Cambry, who's very good on special teams. Of course, Jalen Hyatt. We got Darius Slayton, Wando Robinson, Amir Smith-Marset, Montrell Washington, Jordan Bly, and Gunnar Olszewski. Gunnar laid out and caught that one pass in the end zone, right, for the touchdown. Jameson Winston. So he's been doing well, and the Giants know what they got with him, and he can play on special teams. We got Amir Smith-Marset, right, who can be a returner, right? It's a shame, because if we had Bryce Ward-Wheaton, would be probably almost a lock to make this team. Maybe not so much as a unbelievable talent, okay, as far as wide receiver, but what he can give the Giants on special teams is huge. But his season's over with, unfortunately, for the second time in 3 years, right? But, that's it. There's a lot of guys, a lot of these undrafted free agents, rookie free agents that the Giants brought in 5 of them. Right, there's a lot of guys that are stepping up and looking good, and not only that, but they some of those guys can play pretty doggone well on special teams, and that's something Jalen Hyatt, right, hasn't done. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see. It would be very, just almost just outright kind of crazy, right, just to think that the Giants would just not sign him, or maybe put him on injury reserved, right, for the first, and they have to miss the first. I think it used to be first 6 games. I think that was the first 4 games. They're going to maybe just put him on injury reserve if they don't think he's back, and have to start the season on injury reserve and keep one of the other guys, right? But the guy put on I think it was 15 or 20 pounds. It's not all muscle, unless he was juicing, right? You can't put on 20 pounds of solid muscle in 6 months. Unless, once again, you're juicing. That means he would be, at that rate, he would be putting on 40 pounds of solid muscle in 12 months. And that's, you're not doing that naturally. But you can't make the club in the tub. And, Russell Wilson can say untapped potential, this, that, and he can say all those things he wants. But if Jalen Hyatt can't get his rear end on the field, the Giants' hands are tied. Be interesting to see. It'd be very, very interesting to see what happens, right? Let's not forget, injuries are always a big part, right? Unless you're like Malik Neighbors or somebody like that, these injuries are huge. And if you can't prove that you can stay on the field, Giants' hands are tied. They have to do something, whether it's put them on injury reserve or try to whatever. But something to keep an eye on. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 39 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Means the world to me. As always, guys, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah.